Hello and welcome to the February edition of Community Connect, brought to you by the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce. This month's guest is Eric Wallen. Eric is the Lyon County Sheriff. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yep. Let's talk about all the things that happened in January. January's a little bit slower of a month here in the Marshall area, but let's talk about the things that did happen. On the 27th of January is one of the larger events that we've had, obviously, this year, because it's been a short year, but it is the beer pairing event at Broad Brothers. Always a fun event. A lot of a really good need for the community is the United Way. Of course, they're a partner with so many agencies. Eric, I know you and I usually go to this event. Neither of us could make it, but it's always a fun time.
It is. I really enjoy going. Most years I've been able to make it. Just this year was not going to work out for me.
Yeah,
it is a fun time.
It is. Thanks to all of our friends and Meg at the United Way for all they do, and the planning committee for that event. The annual Marshall Radio Bridal Extravaganza was here on campus, which was also in January. Always a good turnout, a good way to get the brides and their families out of their house and see all the good things that we have for hospitality and everything that goes into a bridal show and into a wedding. Congratulations to Elise Johnson, the grand prize winner of the diamond from Marcotte Jewelry. Tigers Mustangs have been busy with their winter schedules. Good luck to all of them. For high schoolers, and I guess for both high school here and on SMSU, sections playoffs are starting to come together. I believe the girls hockey team already has some sections going on this coming week. The Chamber had a large slate of events in January. I wanted to highlight a couple of them. Our business after hours at the new Ralco downtown offices was huge. Over 125 people stopped in to see the new offices downtown. And again, welcome to Ralco and the upper room. It's great to have you downtown. Eric, have you been over there yet?
I have not had a chance since Ralco's taken over, but yeah. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, it is a great facility, and it's, the beauty of it, we have like 65 to 70 more employees downtown. Of course, that's only going to help the downtown businesses. And finally, on January 24th, Visit Marshall sponsored a Google workshop for businesses. We had over 40 people attend this event, thanks to Cassie, again, at Visit Marshall for her vision for this event. So, again, this month, Eric Wallen is the Lyon County Sheriff. I've known Eric almost from when I first moved here. Our sons have been on the baseball team here for a number of years together, so it's good to have Eric here in the studio here this month. Eric is the sheriff of the Lyon County, as I mentioned. He's been with the sheriff's office for 25 years, starting in 1998. Over that time, he has served in various capacities, including a correctional officer, patrol deputy, investigator, sergeant, and a sheriff since December of 2018. This year begins his second term as the Lyon County Sheriff. He's a very active volunteer, and as I mentioned, I have actually volunteered with him. He sits on the board of directors for New Horizons, also Marshall Lions Club, Noon Rotary, Merit Center Board. He's on the MEBA board, Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, and Habitat for Humanity, so he's very active in the community. Professionally, Eric is district director for Minnesota's 5th District of Sheriffs and a member of the Minnesota Sheriff's Association of Board of Directors. He is also the board chair for both Brown, Lyon, Redwood, and Renville Drug Task Force and Southwest Region Emergency Communications Advisory Committee. He has nothing. He doesn't have a lot of extra time. My goodness, Eric. Again, thanks for being here. So, can you share with us the responsibility of the Lyon County Sheriff's Office and what is the different roles within your organization and the number of employees within your organization?
Sure. So the state of Minnesota, by statute, kind of determines what our responsibilities are. They set forth some very general rules. The sheriff's office is responsible for maintaining a jail, whether we have our own or we contract with another county. We have our own jail. We take in inmates from a neighboring county on a contract because they chose to not have a jail and they find it more economical, so that's how they meet their criteria. We're required to have the 911 dispatch centers, so whenever you call 911, those calls come into our office, and our staff answers those phone calls, whether it's law enforcement needs, ambulance needs, fire needs. we are required to maintain that service. And then also required to provide your standard law enforcement service that everyone's familiar with, the deputies in the patrol car that'll come to your house and provide whatever service that you're requesting. Some other things that we do have to do as well is civil process, which is basically serving court documents to people. The attorneys or courts will send us the documents, we process and take them out to people's homes and deliver them because that's how they have to be passed along. And then the other piece we're responsible for is court security. So we have, every county has a courthouse, if you will, and it's our requirement to maintain the security of that courthouse, even though it is a state facility.
And your coverage area is pretty big. I know that Minneota has their own, and does Tracy have their own?
Yep, Tracy has a PD as well, and Marshall. But the rest of the county, there is no other police departments. We contract with 5 communities within the county to provide police services, but the others have nothing, and we provide those services as well.
Okay, fair enough. So you've completed, as I mentioned earlier, he's completed his first 4 years as the Lyon County Sheriff. What are some of those key things that you accomplished during those first 4 years?
Well, the first 4 years, it was a tough 4. We've went through things with COVID, and that turned the world's upside down for everybody. We went through the George Floyd incident and the killing of that man and how that affected law enforcement in general. It's changed how we do things, and it's changed the image of our profession, unfortunately, and it's also affected our ability to hire and retain staff because people maybe choosing different career paths at this juncture. So we've had to endure those things and find a way to mitigate through it. Some of the other stuff that we've really tried to focus on is improving our victims advocacy and our interaction with victims of crimes. We've set up one of our interview rooms at the office to be a more soft type interview room where someone from a domestic assault situation can come in and provide their statement, or someone who's a victim of a sexual assault. These are very personal and traumatic events that will happen to a person, and it's easier for them if they come into a nice setting as opposed to a table and a couple folding chairs, which we used to have. And now it's more of like you're in your living room, a couple comfortable chairs and different things like that, and room for people to support people to be with those victims. So we've done that. We've looked at providing a safe place for child custody exchange at our office. There's spots in the parking lot that's recorded. So if not every child custody exchange always goes smoothly. So we provide a spot for that to happen if need be. It's free of charge. We've also implemented body cameras. You've probably seen now. It is pretty common across all departments. Officers are wearing a camera right on their chest or on their uniform to help document what goes on. So that was another big addition that we've brought in the last couple years.
So you've kind of talked about just over the last 4 years how much changes there have been. But what about since you started in law enforcement, and what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in your career here in Lyon County?
The biggest stuff is really the equipment and the technology. Things change so fast. When I first started, we did not have a computer in the car, and now that's common. In today's environment, the newer officers really don't know how to work if they don't have the computer. And actually, you can't work anymore because everything has gone paperless from our office to the attorneys to the courts. Everything needs to be done through a computer. So if you don't have it, you can't even function. The body cameras are new. The tasers are new. So the technology is completely changed. Also, the types of crimes that we deal with. A lot more stuff now is computer-based. It's web-based. It's through telephones and Snapchat and Google and Facebook. So we're doing a lot more search warrants and subpoenas to get information from all these providers to help us investigate the crimes we're working on. It's gone from a lot of being out on the street to doing a lot more stuff behind a computer in a sense if you want to investigate those crimes. So that's really changed and turned around a lot.
What does a day look like for the Lyon County Sheriff?
It's a tough question because every day is different, which is one of the things I love about the job.
Yeah.
You know, this morning I was in a county board meeting. I'm here this afternoon. Tonight I'm going to be at 2 city council meetings for a couple of the towns we contract with. Last week I was assisting North Ambulance with a medical call with a patient that is not always the easiest to work with, so they ask for assistance. I was investigating a burglary last week, so it's really hard to say what the day will bring. You know, yesterday I was up at one of our schools working with them on a project, so every day is different, which is really what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What challenges do you see law enforcement facing now and in the future?
Yeah, our biggest challenge right now is staffing.
Yeah.
We struggle in all aspects, whether it's the actual licensed police officer, whether it's jail staff, dispatch staff. We have 21 full-time jail positions. We're down 5. So that's about 20% of our staff that we're short, and we struggle to get applications. When I started in this profession, there was probably 50 applications for my spot that I obtained. And now if we would hire for a deputy, if we got 5 applications, we would call that a good hiring process.
Yeah.
You know, so, and a lot of that stems back to, like I mentioned before, with the George Floyd incident and some of the stuff that has occurred after that, is the profession is not as desirable to be in as it used to be. People are choosing other career paths. Mm-hmm. So we really need to find a way to get those good quality applicants who want to come into this profession and carry it forward, because this is a problem across the state. There's 130 postings on this state website for law enforcement jobs, and that's just 130 different agencies. Many of those agencies have multiple openings. So I mean, you could probably times that by 3 or 4 to say how many actual spots are open across the state of Minnesota for police officers. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
We're seeing small towns close up their police department because they can't get staffing. I know in the last year and a half or so, Morris PD, city about 5,000 people, they closed their department because they couldn't get people. Ortonville shut their department down because they lose their officers to bigger agencies that, you know, have better benefit packages, pay better, or whatever the reasons. But to replace them, it's very hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I worry about that coming to our area as well. City police departments are as valuable as a school in your community. It
Right.
identifies you. It is part of your community, and it when those things go away, it does no benefit for your town. So.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
So question for you. So let's say there's a car accident within city limits on a highway. Somebody calls 911. Who comes first? Is it the Marshall Police Department, Lyon County Sheriff, or the Highway Department? Or whoever's get there fastest?
Yep, so the 911 call comes to the sheriff's office, and our staff will determine where did it happen and who should respond. So they're gonna page, assuming if we're talking about injuries perhaps, or precautionary for injuries, they're gonna send the proper fire department ambulance. If we're in Marshall, it'll be Marshall Fire and North Ambulance. And if it's in the city of Marshall, they're going to send the Marshall Police Department. But we do have the ability to monitor radio traffic for all the agencies. So I can hear what Marshall PD has going on. They can hear what we got going on. If a deputy is right there or nearby, they're going to respond. Yeah. But state troopers right nearby, they're going to respond as well, even if it's not their situation.
Sure. So. Okay. I always kind of wondered that. Kind of a side question here. Okay.
Certainly.
Well, good. Again, thanks for being here, and thanks for all that you do. I certainly appreciate all the work that the Lyon County Sheriff and the Marshall Police Department do and keep us safe here in the area. Please just share that with all your staff. We certainly appreciate all that you guys do.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the things that we have going on in February. I know Eric is involved with a few of these. Let's talk about actually the first thing, this upcoming week. First off, before we do that, I got to give a plug to our coupon book. Our coupon book has been out now for 2 weeks. Over $5,000 worth of savings. About over 250 coupons. There's a $30 book. There's $25 coupons. There's $50 coupons in here. So you're actually losing money if you don't buy one. All right, now let's talk about some of the things going on in February. And by the way, this is our biggest fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce. This coming weekend, we have some sports going on this weekend, and most people are probably thinking about Tropical Night on Saturday. Eric, your team is involved on Friday night for something called Let's see, slam dunk, don't drink and drive night here on Friday night.
Yep, that's right. SMSU is having a campaign against drunk driving or drinking and driving, and that culminates on Friday night with the men's and women's basketball game. And our office, in conjunction with Marshall Police Department, will be there. We'll have some information about the hazards of drinking and driving. We're going to bring some activities along, our impaired driving goggles. So if anyone has seen those, you can wear them and kind of get the idea of what it's like to be under the influence of something. And then we'll have a couple tasks for you all to try and do while you're wearing them, so you can kind of understand the side effects and how it can mess up your coordination and different things. So just a little educational piece that we're going to do before the game and probably up to the beginning of the second game.
Okay, cool. So that is Friday night. Games on Friday night are 5:30 and 7:30. It's the men's first this weekend, and then women's. Then on Saturday, it's tropical night. People are usually come out in droves for this kind of event. It's 3:30, 5:30. So come on out for the tropical night on Saturday night. However, before that, I wanted to touch base on what's going on here during the day on Saturday. SMSU is hosting their winter open house Saturday at 1 o'clock. So if you know any high school students, or actually anybody that's just interested in going to school here on campus, there's a 1 o'clock open house. More details on the SMSU admissions page. The annual Cultures on the Prairie event is next Monday and Tuesday. Monday it's from 1 to 5. Tuesday it's all day, 8:30 to 4. There'll be time for table talk to discuss and reflect on topics surrounding diversity and race. Presentations will include accent biases, and our keynote speaker, her name is Sambath Oak, and I am sure I said that wrong. He is coming down from Prior Lake Savage Area Schools. Again, this is next Monday and Tuesday. To register, call 537-6767. That's Community Services Office. Two large events here next Friday. One is going to be it's a large job fair at the Marshall High School. It is an opportunity to set up your booth. And you're going to have 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders walking throughout the morning, and kids from Maytech. So if you're interested as a business to set up, you can talk about summer jobs, you can talk about tuition assistance, or anything else you'd like to talk about with these kids. This is a good opportunity to get in front of a whole lot of high schoolers. Also next Friday is my favorite event all year long. It is the 20th annual Gold Rush Raffle event right here on campus at SMSU. This wildly popular event features a reverse raffle with 700 names on it, over $6,000 worth of prizes that'll be awarded throughout the night. Eric, I know you and Abby go to this every single year.
Yeah, we've been able to make it several years. It's a really good time. It's a lot of fun. The different games and activities that go on through the night is really a blast.
It is. It is. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. There's 700 tickets sold. Not everybody comes, so I'd say about half that group actually attends. But if you're interested in tickets, give me a call at the chamber office. I can help you out with some of those tickets. So that's it. All these events that I just talked about can be found on our website at marshallmn.org. Again, thanks again for tuning in. Eric, appreciate you being my guest again this month.
Thank you for having me.
Next month, our guest is going to be Parks and Rec Superintendent Preston Stensrud from the City of Marshall will be here on Community Connect. So with that being said, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in March.